Stand By Me, directed by Rob Reiner, was released in August of 1986. John Singleton was an 18-year-old lifelong resident of South Central. By 1988, he was working security for Pee-wee's Playhouse. A graduate of USC, he began writing a script about four boys becoming men in a rough Los Angeles neighborhood. He promptly passed it along to Paul Reubens, Pee-wee himself, but his busy schedule gave him no time to read it. He eventually did, loved it, and encouraged co-star Lawrence Fishburne to read it as well. Fishburne, who was brought to tears by it, helped get the film financed, as well as starred in Singleton's Oscar-nominated directorial debut. While working on the screenplay, Stand By Me had not only become a hit film, but actually served as the template for Singleton, as he had never written a screenplay before. He was a huge fan of it and paid homage, as directors often do. I thought I would take a look at the 10 most interesting similarities between the films Boyz n the Hood and Stand By Me. Warning, spoilers ahead. Also, it's worth noting some of these similarities are deliberate, while others are simply coincidences. Number 10. They are classics 30 years later. Everyone involved knew they were doing something special. In this business, though, you never know what's going to be successful. These films greatly surpassed their intended expectations. Boyz n the Hood premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, making it an international success before its domestic release. Comparatively, Stand By Me has become the mold for coming-of-age films. I mean, hell, this entire video proves this, as Stand By Me heavily influenced Boyz n the Hood, which influenced many other films. Number 9. Both were criticized for its strong language. It goes without saying a film about South Central LA is not going to be a Disney film. Even the tagline read, "This ain't no fairy tale." While Singleton was offending some, he was mostly educating others. When Stand By Me came out, it was also scrutinized by critics like Leonard Maltin. Apparently, cussing in the 50s was strictly for adults, and kids never broke this rule. They broke every other rule, but language was somehow sacred, according to Maltin.
You cussing so motherfucking loud. My mom don't like that shit.
Comedian Chris Rock once stated that there are no bad words, just bad thoughts. The focus on these films should not be the crude dialogue, but rather the senseless violence these characters fall victim of. It's interesting that violence is so accepted in cinema, with the majority of the audience never questioning its relevance or impact. Number 8. A character copes with the death of their brother. In Stand By Me, Gordy LaChance reminisces on his life at age 12. This was when his brother had just passed away after an automobile accident. At the end of Boyz n the Hood, Doughboy's brother Ricky is shot and killed.
I wonder who wrote the book of law.
They remain unloved by their parents, both before the tragedies and even after, most likely because of it. Number 7. Actors paralleled the fates of their characters. River Phoenix and Lloyd Avery II died at a young age. 23-year-old Phoenix overdosed outside of the Viper Room Halloween of 1993, and Avery was killed in prison at age 36 following a double homicide conviction. Additionally, Dedrick Gobert was shot and killed in 1994 at age 22 by a member of the Bloods. Number 6. Oscar nominations for Best Screenplay. At the 1987 Oscars, Stand By Me was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. 5 years later, Singleton was nominated for Best Original Screenplay as well as Best Director. At age 24, he was the youngest director ever recognized in this category, and he was actually 23 during the production. Number 5. Tensions on set created unintentional production value. Boyz n the Hood was filmed on the mean streets of South Central Los Angeles. Production vehicles blocked streets to prevent drive-by shootings. Security always stayed close to the actors. When there were intended gunshots, the cast was not warned beforehand to garner a realistic reaction. Kind of a cruel thing to do considering the real danger of filming in such a neighborhood. Mind you, no one here is questioning the genius of the late, great John Singleton. In Stand By Me, Rob Reiner worried if the young actors could keep up with the emotional demands of their characters. During the train sequence, Wheaton and O'Connor were not reacting strongly enough considering the peril they were in. Reiner continued to roll film, but started screaming at them, resulting in both actors crying. This made it into the final film. Their tears were real. Number 4. Coming-of-age stories about 4 boys entering manhood. As the story progresses, little Chris fades into the background. But for the most part, the story revolves around 4 young men finding their place in life. The same is true of Stand By Me, though the bulk of it takes place over the course of a couple days. Only Gordy's character has the benefit of hindsight. Number 3. Titles based on hit songs. Rumor has it John Singleton had to pay Eazy-E $50,000 to use the title Boyz n the Hood. Though the NWA hit doesn't play for even a second, Stand By Me plays at the beginning and end, the opening playing the orchestral version and finishing with Benny King's classic Motown rendition. Though based on the Stephen King novella The Body, Rob Reiner felt the title would confuse people as to what the story was about. It's funny because, like Boogie Nights, the song title is my least favorite thing about the movie. It also breathed life back into the song 25 years after its original 1961 release. There was even a new music video produced with Benny King and the boys from Stand By Me. Number 2. Dissolve as a character walks away. There is a fade out of Chris Chambers when we discover he is killed. The shot is virtually identical to Doughboy, both succumbing to violent deaths. This was done deliberately by Singleton and is the second most direct reference to Stand By Me. Number 1. The dead body line. This is the most glaring similarity and most likely the starting point of John Singleton writing Boyz n the Hood.
Y'all want to see a dead body? You guys want to go see a dead body?
Regardless of how it started, we are grateful that he did. Even more grateful that he brought it to fruition.
He is the youngest director ever nominated for an Oscar for the groundbreaking Boyz n the Hood. Singleton died after suffering a stroke. He's being remembered across Hollywood.
I was lucky in 2019 because I got to see John Singleton direct in an Adidas tracksuit on the show Snowfall. He passed away only a few months later. The one thing I observed about him was his passion for performance. He looked incredibly jubilant while watching the actors, not the monitors, as this is what most directors do. I also found it interesting that if any scenes involved violence, the dueling actors were meant to shake hands as soon as there was a cut. He really was an advocate of nonviolence. It was his idea to add Increase the Peace to the poster of Boyz n the Hood, despite everyone in marketing thinking it was a corny idea. Rest in peace, John Singleton. He inspired me to learn how to write my own material. As he put it, the cheapest way to make a movie is to write one. Thank you for watching.